Why do I feel like MountainTop is maybe not necessarily ruining the Crucible, but is bad for the Crucible? I feel like it for a lot of reasons, but that's what I'm going to talk about today. So first, I want to just ask a few questions, and you can let me know what you think in the comments below. And this is meant to be a discussion, not necessarily meant to be this is a video where I'm right, and so I have to let you know. Okay, so these are some of my questions. Okay, so you might not come across the MountainTop in every single game, mostly because people love Spare Rations, The Last Word, and Thorn. But when you do encounter your opponent with the MountainTop, how does that make you feel? Like, when you die to it, or you're getting rushed down by somebody who's flying through the air and shoots it at you, leaves you one shot, and then swaps to their primary weapon and finishes you, did you feel like you had a chance? Did it feel... Were you like, oh man, I got outplayed, like I made the mistake, I should have been doing this other thing different? Does it feel like that? Do you feel like there was something you could have done better? Another question I have is, have you thought about how to counter MountainTop? Do you just not run a special ammo weapon to starve them of special ammo when you or your teammates die? Or do you have perfect aim and you can just quick scope headshot them with a sniper rifle before they pull their trigger? Or do you counter MountainTop by simply not playing the Crucible? Another question I have is, why doesn't anybody use any other single load grenade launchers in the Crucible, like special ammo grenade launchers? I'm not necessarily talking about fighting line, because that's a little bit of a different situation and it's an exotic, so it's a little bit different. But why doesn't anybody use the Orwing's Maul or Militia's Birthright? Why are those not getting used? To me, I believe it is because they act completely different. Now, obviously, we know that MountainTop's like unique perk is micro missile, which makes it fire in a perfectly straight line and gives it in especially increased velocity. And that's kind of the thing that sticks MountainTop apart. Like, if MountainTop doesn't have that, then like what? It's literally just like what? Militia's Birthright? That's right. Like, there's nothing special about it. And obviously, people worked hard to get MountainTop, like really hard. I worked really hard to get MountainTop. And if something happened to that, you know, people would probably get upset. But I feel like something has to happen, and Bungie is going to need to do something about it. I personally feel like because of Trials coming back, which we're pretty sure it's coming back, like, in those situations, people are going to use whatever is absolutely the most OP, powerful things. And I believe that MountainTop is that thing. And if all Trials is a team of 3 with MountainTops versus a team of 3 with MountainTops, I feel like Trials will not be fun. Because MountainTop's main issue is that it doesn't provide any type of interactivity. Like, it doesn't allow any counterplay or anything. Okay, I just said anything a million times, but here's the thing. Other grenade launchers have an arc. They don't shoot perfectly straight, which means that you have to be able to aim. Like, and not necessarily just aim, but you have to be familiar with the weapon and how it moves. And so you can you know, predict where your enemy is. You can tell, because you're like, oh, I've used this grenade launcher a bunch. I know that if I arc it like this, it's going to get them from there. There's another thing that MountainTop has that creates an issue, and that's that it always explodes when it hits whatever surface it's going to hit. It goes straight. It's not a timed explosive projectile. It's not a release to explode type grenade launcher like the rest of grenade launchers are. And so the problem that creates is you can just shoot your MountainTop and then instantly switch to your other weapon and clean somebody up. So let's just say, oh no, worst case scenario, your mountaintop didn't actually kill them. Well, you just shoot it and then you switch, like you've already swapped to your weapon, and then you just finished them off with one hand cannon shot or like a couple SMG bullets or something. MountainTop is basically a honed edge ×4 Izanagi sniper that has a little bit slower projectile speed that you can hip fire with insane accuracy while flying through the air, and sometimes even kill people that are around a corner that you didn't even directly hit. That is basically what MountainTop is, and it's not even exotic. Okay. Here's the thing. The concept of MountainTop was really cool, and it was probably meant to get people to try single load grenade launchers in PvP more, and maybe just in general to get people to use them more. And that makes sense, because if you think about it, before MountainTop, like, people didn't really use single load grenade launchers very much. Like, I really don't remember them happening, like, being used very much. And the thing is, MountainTop, I believe, is just, it's bad for PvP. It's bad for Crucible. It rewards reckless aiming, which, when you think about this, so Recluse, its most recent nerf, they nerfed it because what was happening was people were getting a kill, and the Recluse buff made it so that its body shots did just as much as its buffed headshots damage. So once you got a kill and Master of Arms was active, Recluse, you didn't have to aim Recluse, really. You just kind of generally put it on the target, just aim at their chest or whatever, and just shred them. And people were sick of it. They're like, this is a problem. It just, like, people don't have to try. They get a kill, and then the Recluse just shreds everybody else. They don't have to think about it. It's brainless. And I feel like what MountainTop does is similar. It's brainless. You don't have to make any type of critical choices. You don't have to try hard. You don't have to aim. You can just fly, like, and flying through the air too. It doesn't even matter. Like, the in-air accuracy penalty, like, it just is. MountainTop ignores it. You can just fly through the air, slam a missile down at somebody's feet. If it doesn't kill them, by the time it's even there, you've already swapped to your other weapon, because you're like, just in case, I'm gonna get my hand cannon out here or whatever. And then they're instantly dead too, you know? I personally feel like one of the funnest things in the Crucible is interaction. Being able to duel somebody and, aim correctly or make the right choices of getting in or out of that fight is what really makes, especially 3v3 modes, really fun for me. And MountainTop doesn't allow interaction. And now people could say that, like, snipers don't allow interaction either. You just one-shot them. What can people do about that? The thing with snipers is that they require you to lose your radar because you have to ADS. And the other thing is you have to aim precisely almost all the time. And you also need to usually stand still or, only move a little bit, or at the very least not jump. I mean, like, sometimes you can jump if you got an Icarus grip and you get lucky, but you're not flying through the air, hip firing snipers. That's just not a thing that snipers are doing, which allows them some sort of counterplay and some type of interactivity. While a sniper is ADSing down a lane, it can allow for a window for somebody to come in and flank them from close range. And that's the other thing, snipers are mostly useless in close range. The only way to counterplay MountainTop is by floating in the air, away from walls, but somehow still moving so they don't just hit you sitting still in the air. And also, hopefully, they're not just waiting for you to land on the ground so they can shoot you and kill you. One thing I fear is that Bungie may potentially do nothing about MountainTop because the stats for MountainTop could be incorrect, because MountainTop isn't necessarily getting a bunch of kills on its own, but mostly from damaging somebody and instantly swapping to your primary weapon and then finishing with your primary. I don't know if Bungie has access to how much damage each weapon does in the Crucible or just its kills, but if they just have the kill data, I feel like there's going to be a lot of incorrect information about MountainTop just because of the swap tactic. Imagine starting all of your engagements with your opponent being one shot or dead. Well, then you might be using the MountainTop. That's basically what happens. Also, whenever I have gone up against a group in competitive where the whole other team is using MountainTop, I have lost almost every single one of those matches because all they have to do is just play aggressive and have one of their MountainTop shots get near you and to put you at one shot, and then they pinch you. It's just what do you do? Now, I understand that I can only have my own experiences, and that who knows, maybe I'm alone, maybe tons of you out there are continuously getting shot at by opponents using the MountainTop, and you're winning more than 50% of those engagements. Personally, it doesn't feel that way to me. I feel like if MountainTop isn't banned from the Crucible or a change isn't made, like basically a complete rework, then I'm afraid that that's basically going to be the weapon that gets used in Trials whenever Trials comes out. Okay, so what are some potential solutions? So obviously, I don't work at Bungie, and I don't know all of what they're actually able to do or what is worth doing workload-wise for them. But just a few ideas I have is, one of them is basically just make it not fire perfectly straight and rework some of its perks. I don't know necessarily what they could rework the perks to or what is worth reworking the perks to, because if you think about it, they designed this to have this projectile speed from this single load grenade launcher, and I don't know necessarily what that took. I don't know like what that's worth, taking that out and swapping it with something else and reworking it to some other thing that feels just as pinnacle. I don't know, but I mean, that's just one idea. Like I said, potentially the easiest idea, if they have the ability to do it, is to just ban it from Crucible and change the way the quest works. Just have the quest be basically a Vanguard quest, or maybe just a different quest that you just pick up, I don't know, from maybe the postmaster, and then just say sorry to everybody. Just everybody who already has it, maybe give them an emblem and just say, hey, we're really sorry that, you know, you worked really hard to get this and that it's changed now, and maybe it's not what you wanted it to be, but like that would be something, just because I don't think that it can stay. Like, I just genuinely don't think it can just stay in the Crucible the way it is. Another potential solution is to change the way special ammo in the Crucible works, and this also potentially could be seen as a general Crucible change that could be seen as good. They could make it so that special ammo doesn't drop from Guardians in PvP when they die, and instead make it so that there are special ammo boxes on the map that spawn, just like how Heavy does now, and it's the shared Heavy bricks, but, you know, have it be a shared special ammo brick for your team to be able to pick up at different increments within the match. That could be a potential solution. Anyways, I don't know if there's anything else I need to say about MountainTop, but if you've got anything you want to say about MountainTop, please leave it in the comments below. Also, I want to remind you that I live stream on Twitch most days, and I also have a Discord server. You can find all those links in the description below. You can also subscribe here on YouTube. You have all sorts of options available to you. But anyways, I would like to hear from you, and have a nice day.